Hey, soldiers, it looks like Elizabeth Holmes will not be serving the entire 11 years of her 11-year sentence for fraud and various other charges. Looks like she's going to get early release. We're going to go over it and cover it real quick because, look, you guys respond well to these Elizabeth Holmes videos. And, I like to cover stuff like this because, in our quest to build wealth, sometimes folk take shortcuts. And I got to be honest with you, when we do these videos, I hope maybe it gives people pause to say, you know what? Spending 11 days in prison is not worth it. I'm just going to go plow forward and do my thing honestly. We cover FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried, that whole thing extensively. We'll see what happens. His trial's coming up. Well, part of the trial on some of his charges coming up in October. We'll be all over it. Elizabeth Holmes is on track for early release from her 11-year prison sentence stemming from the Theranos scam that she has been convicted of running. Disgraced Theranos CEO Elizabeth Holmes has apparently behaved well enough during the first 6 weeks of her more than 11-year prison sentence for duping investors in her blood testing hoax to be eligible for release nearly 2 years ahead of schedule, federal officials confirmed on Tuesday. Now, before you start thinking, well, hell, it was just 6 weeks and she's been that good, by 6 months they should be letting her out. No, it doesn't quite work like that. The U.S. Bureau of Prisons currently projects that Holmes, who is 39 years old, will be released from a Bryan, Texas prison on December 29th, 2032, just in time for New Year's. That would be 115 months or slightly more than 9.5 years after she began her prison sentence of 11 years and 3 months, which was imposed by U.S. District Judge Edward Davila last November. Holmes was convicted on 4 counts of fraud and conspiracy following a high-profile trial in San Jose, California, which riveted Silicon Valley for months. One of the more insidious aspects of the Elizabeth Holmes trial and charges was the fact that she not only was defrauding people financially, but there were people that were hoping that her technology would help them find relief from disease, medical issues. And she had them along for the ride as well. And that, to me, when you give people false hope like that, that's pretty insidious, So when some people look at this and they say, she defrauded investors, it's a white-collar crime. That's true. But hers went a little bit further here in terms of think about how you would feel if there's this technology that, she has promoted and told you that this will make a difference, and all of the hype and publicity around it, leads you to believe that, this could change your life positively. This could get you back into a situation where you can, be active with or care for your family or, be the person you used to be. And then you find out it was all a part of a scheme. It's a pipe dream. None of it existed. When you look at it from that standpoint, when I look at it from that standpoint, I have no sympathy for Elizabeth Holmes. Her prison sentence has not changed. But like all prisoners who follow the rules, she can qualify for an early release under the federal government's good time guidelines. Her projected release date, a few weeks before her 49th birthday, is in line with a prisoner serving her length of sentence. So, you know that with good behavior, you do roughly 85%, I believe, of your time in the federal system. Now, I was unaware that they kind of count that in the beginning. In this case, they have. And they're saying this is not unusual for the facility where she's at. And I believe that's because it's minimum security. The chances of Elizabeth Holmes sharpening shivs and, becoming, queen bitch over at the prison and extorting people and, stomping people out, the chances of that are pretty much zero, especially in the facility that she's in. Doesn't call for it. When we did an earlier report, these prisoners in that facility, the females, they are eligible to receive crochet needles, right? So you never do that in a mainline maximum security prison, okay? And you see some, tatted out, big, muscle-bound prisoner sitting there, oh, I'm just making a blanket, with a crochet needle. So that speaks to the level of threat that they think these prisoners are. So I'm absolutely certain that if she did turn into, a monster, that they just revisit this and probably ship her to a facility that is, for hard cases. And she's not going to do that. She doesn't want that, and she's not built like that. So that's probably why they're counting it up front, subject to change. When Davila sentenced Holmes, legal experts predicted she might be able to get out of federal prison in about 9 years. The Bureau of Prisons declined to explain the specific reasoning for Holmes' projected release date, citing privacy, safety, and security reasons. In a statement provided Tuesday to the Associated Press, every inmate earns good conduct time and is projected in their projected release date. So that they're saying that good conduct time is, in advance looked at, like we surmised. Now, Holmes' former lover and top lieutenant over at Theranos, Ramesh Sunny Balwani, is also on track for an early release from his nearly 13-year prison sentence after being convicted of 12 counts of fraud and conspiracy last year following a separate trial. Balwani's projected release date is April 1st, 2034. Whew. Wonder how old that guy is. 2034, he's midway the next decade. And this is according to the Bureau of Prisons. That would be nearly 11 years after he began his sentence at a Southern California prison. So instead of doing 13, he'd do 11, provided, all things remain equal. Holmes and Balwani's 57. So there we go. So, he'd be pushing 70 by the time he got out, even with the early release. Jeez. They're hoping to get out even earlier as their lawyers pursue appeals seeking to overturn their respective convictions. Good luck with that. Although they had separate trials, Holmes and Balwani are accused of essentially the same crimes, centered on a ruse touting Theranos' blood testing system as a breakthrough in healthcare. The claims helped the company become a Silicon Valley sensation that raised nearly $1 billion from investors, and at one point anointed Holmes with a $4.5 billion fortune based on her 50% stake in the company Theranos. And it's all gone now. And, she went from hero to zero because she wasn't really a hero. Now, the idea, sure, great idea. So is traveling at the speed of light. It's a great idea, but making it happen that's the trick. So we talked about Balwani. He's going to be pushing 70 by the time he gets out of a federal prison. That's almost as much time as it would take to pay off a 90-year mortgage. Yes, a 90-year mortgage. It's a thing. You're never going to own that home. Watch this video to find out why they're offering 90-year mortgages. You will own nothing, and you're not going to be happy about it. Guys, I'll talk to you soon.